My God, I hate drugs.
As he vowed to combat illegal drugs, President Duterte in jest called on the public to kill Catholic bishops whom he says do nothing but criticize him. The Catholic Church has been critical of the administration, including its drug war.
Itong mga obispo ninyo, patayin ninyo, walang silbi yung mga yan. Ito is criticize.
In a speech at the awarding of the country's top OFWs, President Duterte called the church the country's most hypocritical institution. He added that majority of priests are gay.
Lahat naman halos 90% ng mga pare, wala. Ako, bakla man ako noon. So bakla man sila lahat.
President Duterte also clarified he never said he does not believe in God. He just said, quote, "Your God is stupid. Mine has a lot of common sense," unquote. Now, here's a look at the government's war on drugs by the numbers. Police say some 5,000 drug suspects were killed in what they say are legitimate operations. This was recorded from July 1st, 2016, the first day of the Duterte administration, to October 31st this year. Authorities say those killed resisted arrest and fought back. But police note all operations which resulted in deaths are under review. During the same period, police say there were around 30,000 reported deaths. These fall under the category homicide cases under investigation because authorities have yet to determine the motives behind the deaths. More than 280 law enforcement personnel have been dismissed from service because of drug use, 130 others for other drug-related offenses. As of late November, around 9,000 barangays across the country have been cleared of illegal drugs. With more than 23,000 more to go, the Philippine Drug Enforcement Agency says it may be able to clear all barangays of illegal drugs in 3 years or before President Duterte steps down in 2022. The Eastern Mindanao Command Head is the next Armed Forces Chief. CNN Philippines obtained a copy of the appointment paper of East MINCOM Chief Lieutenant General Benjamin Madrigal Jr., signed by President Rodrigo Duterte. Madrigal takes over when General Carlito Galvez reaches the mandatory retirement age of 56 on December 12. The change of command rights is initially scheduled for December 11. Welcome news from economic managers. Prices were lower in November, the first monthly decline this year. But some consumers say they are still spending more on basic items like food. Our George Cajiles has that story.
It's almost noontime, but Leonora Saberon is still patiently waiting in line to buy NFA rice. Saberon is a senior citizen and is still working as a laundry woman to send her 3 grandchildren to school.
Wala kaming pambili ng mamahaling bigas. Construction lang anak ko. Wala man ako asawa na. Ako lang bubuhay doon sa apo ko. O, di ba? Hindi kami hindi kami practical ang buhay. Wala. Mamamatay kami. Isang beses na nga lang kami kumain isang araw.
While Saberon admits prices of some goods at Commonwealth Market in Quezon City have gone down, she still can't afford to buy even vegetables.
Bibili na lang ako ng, minsan, chichirya. Bibili kami ng chichirya. Pwede na namin ulam. Sausaw lang sa suka. Yun. Ulam na namin.
According to data from the Philippine Statistics Authority, inflation rate eased to a 4-month low of 6% in November. The first time this year that inflation declined from the previous month. The latest figure is lower than the 9-year high, 6.7% inflation rate in September and October. But it is double the 3% inflation rate in November last year. The National Capital Region recorded a 5.6% increase in prices. Meanwhile, the Bicol region posted the highest growth in spending outside Metro Manila at 8.9% from 9.9% in October. In a joint statement, the country's economic managers say they are satisfied with the latest inflation figure. But they emphasize non-monetary policies such as the administrative order easing the importation of agricultural products should remain to control the increase in consumer prices. Meanwhile, ING Bank senior economist Nicolas Mapa says they expect the Bangko Sentral to slash interest rates by the second quarter of 2019 if the inflation rate could maintain its downtrend. The BSP hiked rates 5 times this year by 175 basis points, bringing the total borrowing rate to 4.75% to curb soaring inflation. While there's a slowdown in the inflation rate, some market goers say they still don't feel it. That's why they just make some strategies to make ends meet.
Ganun pa rin po, wala akong nararamdaman. Ano na lang, pa 1/4 na lang para mag-cash yung budget.
Papalit-palit lang sila eh. Minsan ngayon, katulad ngayon, kalamansi naman ang mahal, ganyan. Minsan bawang. Palit-palit lang sila. Kung magkano lang yung mabili ng budget, yun lang talaga pagkakasyahin.
Consumer Group Laban Consumer fears prices may go up once the additional excise tax on fuel takes effect next year. And consumers like Sabiron may further feel the burden of making ends meet. George Kailes, CNN Philippines.
Australian researchers say their tests can detect if cancer cells are anywhere in the body, and it apparently only takes 10 minutes. Scientists from the University of Queensland found that cancer forms a unique DNA structure when placed in water. They developed a 10-minute test that identifies the presence of that structure. The researchers think their discovery could detect cancer in humans earlier than the current methods used. The earlier that cancer is detected, the higher the chances that therapeutic treatment and surgery could be successful. The 10-minute test has not been used on humans, and large clinical trials are needed before it can be used on prospective patients. The results have been published in the journal Nature Communications. Christmas ornaments this year are drawing some inspiration from the White House, and netizens are having fun making the decorations. Here's CNN's Jeannie Moose.
President Trump has been petting the Christmas tree hauling horse, lighting the national tree, even popping out of a mocked-up chimney like Santa Claus. But who knew he'd end up as an ornament? His son, Don Jr., posted this meme on Instagram. Couldn't decide between an angel or a star, so I picked both, prompting someone to comment, "Mr. Mueller is coming to town." We know what makes the president merry.
I told you that we would be saying Merry Christmas again, right? We're saying Merry Christmas again. We are going to be celebrating Merry Christmas again.
His other son, Eric, celebrated by hawking the all-new ornaments from the Trump store. The Trump helicopter sells for $55. Bet you can't tell what this is. It's the Trump golf bag ornament. And this is Trump Tower, tweeted a critic. If you shake the Trump Tower globe, does it snow indictments?
Let it snow, let it snow, let it snow.
And for Trump foes, there's a mocked-up ornament of the baby Trump blimp.
I'm saying Merry Christmas to whoever the hell wants to hear it.
But here's something you won't find for sale on the Trump website. Meet Corkscrew Donald, the perfect way to open a bottle of fine Trump wine. It was created by the same designer who dreamed up the Hillary Nutcracker, twisted gifts for under the tree or on top of it. Jeannie Moose, CNN. Must be a Democratic cork. New York.
He says there could be widespread violence as his administration continues to fight illegal drugs. Speaking at the awarding ceremony for this year's child-friendly cities and municipalities, Mr. Duterte reiterated how illegal drugs ruin families. During his campaign, he vowed to end the drug problem in 3 to 6 months. However, he admitted a few months ago that his term may not be enough to solve the problem. Critics have called out his drug war for the thousands of killed drug suspects. Here's the president in his own words.
I'll try to finish. I'm not promising, but we are all agreed, the police and the armed forces. We will try to finish it, and I will be harsh. And there might be really widespread violence, but I am prepared for that.
A new report projects that annual global carbon emissions will reach an all-time high this year. Figures published on Wednesday show fossil fuel emissions are set to rise 2.7% this year. That's 37.1 billion tons of carbon dioxide, which is higher than 1.7% rise last year. The new data has been produced for an annual report called the Global Carbon Budget. The report says this year's record fossil fuel emissions are mostly due to an increase in global coal use, which could soon exceed its 2013 peak if growth continues. It also projects increased emissions from transport, including aviation. The report highlights China, the United States, the European Union, India, Russia, Japan, Germany, Iran, Saudi Arabia, South Korea, and Canada as the biggest carbon emitters. Former U.S. President George H.W. Bush is making his final journey back to his adopted home state. The casket was taken to Joint Base Andrews for transport back to Texas. But before that, an emotional farewell from former and current world leaders at the National Cathedral in Washington. That includes all living former U.S. presidents, as well as U.S. President Donald Trump and his First Lady Melania Trump. George W. Bush, also a former U.S. president, eulogized his father, calling him optimistic and a patriot. Bush will be laid to rest next to his wife and daughter in a private ceremony Thursday at his presidential library in College Station. And a new study is out detailing the birth of the first baby born to a woman with a uterus transplanted from a deceased donor. The history-making delivery happened nearly a year ago. It was detailed in a study published Tuesday in the medical journal The Lancet. At least a dozen children worldwide have been born to women with transplanted uteri donated by a living relative, but never one from a deceased donor. The mother was born without a uterus and received the transplant in 2016. Months later, doctors implanted a fertilized egg that had been preserved in vitro. Then on December 15th of last year, a baby girl weighing nearly 6 pounds was delivered via C-section. According to the researchers, neither the mother nor the child has experienced complications or abnormalities.